What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Tide Talk. Just a reminder, each episode is available on YouTube, and if you're watching now, please take a second to subscribe to the channel and click that like button on this video. As we continue to grow since the rebrand, just a reminder, you can find our match reaction episodes one day after kickoff at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, away end episodes around 48 hours prior to kickoff, and the Call Hog Corner will always air on Twitter's Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern, and the audio will be available the next morning. And you can also find all of those shows on your favorite podcast applications like Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And if you listen on one of those, we'd really appreciate it if you took a minute to leave us a 5-star rating and a short review, as it helps more people find the show, find our podcast. And one more housekeeping note, if you're not already using the Club Collector app, click the link in this episode description to get on that site. Go into the code. Craig does some awesome work. The code is Tide Talk, all one word, to get a free pack to add to your collection. Crack a beer. Cozy up. We've got some cathartic talk to go through. I'm your host, Matt. It is Thursday, June 13th. I'm joined by my good friend Ryan with a lovely Paw Sock shirt on there. What's up, Ryan? How you doing, buddy?
Hello.
Oh, there you go.
There we are. Yeah, I'm doing okay, all things considered. Last night was very up and down with RIFC blowing their 2-0 lead, and then the Celtics trying their best to almost blow their lead.
That was pretty wild.
I was texting my friends because I turned the Celtics on the radio on the drive home from the Guild. Dallas started making their run, and I was like, do I need to just not watch the rest of the game? It seemed like they're doing great without me. So,
well, funny story, and I hesitate to share it, but we're on time. So thanks, Scott. Thanks for tuning in. We are on time for this episode, so very good. But I'm sitting out watching. My wife comes out, and I believe it was 2-0 when she first came out of putting the boys to bed, and then 2-1, and then the penalty shot. And I was like, you got to go back in there. Like, this is awful. This is terrible. But she had been watching the Celtics on her phone, putting the boys down, and then we get into bed, getting ready for bed, watching the fourth quarter of the Celtics, and I was like, do you want me to go back out there? Because that was when that Dallas run went wild. So it was pretty wild. It was a changing of tides all throughout the evening as far as New England sports fans go on that one. But this was an interesting one, and we certainly do have a lot to talk about, Ryan. We've got some videos we're going to try to play to make our points. Ryan has his slides, but let's dive into the kind of the action and what we saw from the starting 11. And there was a lot to talk about in this one, as we saw a pretty big change. We were wondering how it was going to play out. Koke Vegas and net, Clay Holstad, Frank Nodarce, Karifa Yao, Turnbull was listed as the FOP Mob back line. Kind of what we expected or what we thought we'd see coming out, but it was Kofi Chumasi that was playing right center back for Rhode Island FC. And I think that was a pretty big surprise for all of us. FOP Mob had Gabi playing right wing. The special boy does not play right wing. FOP Mob, you should know better. JJ Williams, Mark Doyle, and Connor McGlynn round out the starting 11. What were your thoughts when you first saw this one, Ryan? I know we kind of had the same conniption in the Discord, the Defiance 36 Discord. We were like, oh no, shit, this is Clay at right wing back, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were going to continue with a lot of what we saw last game. Those graphics are always hard to figure out when they put them out, because I don't put them in any real order that makes any kind of sense.
Sure.
So yeah, we both were like, is Clay at right center back? Is Clay at right wing back? Is he at left wing back? Is Messi playing number 10? So it was very nice that when the game started, we saw him all the way at the back, which I'll be honest, didn't fill me with tremendous amount of confidence, but I have to give big props to Messi on the night. He was fantastic.
Yeah, he had a very good match. We'll talk about him, I'm sure, a little bit more as we get going. But this one was pretty action-packed throughout. And It started out pretty early. It was the Tide going up with that McGlynn goal in the 18th. But before we go there, I do want to talk a little bit about the ESPN streams and uh,
Wait, what's there to talk about with them?
just the lack of quality. The stream goes in and out. It's terrible. It is certainly low tide as far as a stream would go. I would give it that. It just gets worse and worse every week. These were by far the worst commentators that I heard so far. I think the color guy or the play-by-play guy, I think, was definitely a Memphis 901 employee,
Yes.
club employee, as he was all about hyping them up. But I don't know if Rhode Island FC is distributing the player pronunciation guides to the opposing team's media, but I just want to free Tony Yayo after watching last night. Yayo was in there getting in on challenges and gave up a penalty that we'll examine a little bit later on. But this stream was hot garbage, maybe so more so than the 21,088 people that they had listed as attendance. I think they fucked up a decimal point somewhere there.
You could count them on one hand, I think. It was unbelievable. When they were trying to do the goal celebrations, when they tied it up, and there was like, let's zoom in on this very tight patch of people who are all happen to be sitting together. And then, we found another 5 people who are really close together.
It was crazy. I think the most exciting part was the guy with the symbols on top of the, dugout.
That was
That just
cool.
looked fun. Like,
Yep.
that might be a bucket list
Good
item for
time.
me. I gotta get some symbols on top of a dugout. But we did see Connor McGlynn give the tie the lead in the 18th minute with a, very nice goal. But what'd you make of that first one and the build-up leading to it?
Yeah, I think it was a lot of what we saw in that first half. The team did a good job, getting the ball into the final third, working it around, but not dilly-dallying in top of it. So it was nice to see him get a very clean strike with that volley. So cannot complain at all about that.
No, right on. We got a question in the chat from Adam. Why isn't the "When the Tide Comes Rolling In" more popular? I'd sing that any day. I did post or mention in our first video after the Tide Talk rebrand that we'd like to get a bunch of people together to sing that chant and bring that into our intro music for the podcast. And a couple people reached out or responded to them today. We're looking to do that at the next home match. So if you are a fan of "When the Tide Comes Rolling In" and you are a fan of Tide Talk, make sure you link up with us at the next tailgate or before the next tailgate, and we'll get that plan in motion. But we got that early 1-0 lead, and Ryan, take us a little bit more through some of your observations and thoughts from the first half in this one.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was it looked like the players knew where they were supposed to be. The players were playing in positions that they felt comfortable. I love seeing Clay in the midfield. He was absolutely everywhere. His heat map is like crazy. It's just the entire pitch, basically the entire game. So I thought it looked like a squad that was comfortable, a squad that was hungry, that they wanted to right some wrongs from last week. And I really can't fault that half. And again, no errors. That was like the big thing. No errors that were disastrous. So that's what you want, especially on the road when you're playing a good team.
No, right on. I talked to Lawrence in our away end episode, and when we gave our score predictions, I predicted a draw for this one. I was 1-1 on my draw, but my thing was that this team had something to prove.
Mhm.
That last match was just a total letdown. Foot was off the gas for the full 90 minutes. Fans kind of let them know. I think it was very evident in the players. They were frustrated. They were angry after that last match, and this was a proving ground game. And I think for 90 minutes proved that they can be a successful team in this division, but just were not able to get over the hump with this one. The biggest shout for me was that in the first half was that JJ penalty shout. What you make of that one? Did you have a penalty on that one?
I mean, I know we got some detective work that was helpful in me observing. For real time, I was very like, maybe it was a tight one. But after looking at the videos that we have, I really think that should have been called. While the guy gets a little bit of the ball, he has to go through JJ to get it. He makes contact on the way to the ball, and it puts off the fact that JJ then cannot make a play on the ball. So I think that of all the ones that we've talked about this year that haven't been called, I definitely think that has the biggest shout for me.
I think this was the biggest stonewaller. I'm gonna play the clip in super slow motion from our Welsh wizard Scott, who recorded it for us. So if you know Mouse, this was sent in by him. This is it. It's gonna be a really weird audio clip when you hear it because of the slow mo. But just take a look at that defender and that scissor kick motion as he kind of wraps JJ up and follows through, bringing JJ to the ground. And worth noting, JJ is not an easy guy to bring down. To the ground, especially inside the box. He's a big dude. He fights for every position. So just take a look at this in super slow motion. Let us know what you think in the chat.
Top one. Here comes
So you see that right leg from the defender go across, and he gets ball after he makes contact
Mhm.
with it's kind of like his right ass cheek or like upper thigh that makes contact with JJ's foot, and then he gets ball. But then the follow through, and I'm gonna play it one more time and then let you give your opinion on it. The follow through and that kind of like scissor wrap up motion is what really kind of sells it for me as a Stonewaller.
Top one. Here comes Rhode Island.
So what you think about that one, Ryan? Do you have it as Stonewall as I do?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the defender, if you want to make the argument that he gets something on the ball, so it can't be a penalty. The thing is, he had to go through JJ to do that. So to me, it's very clear. Again, like you said, JJ is not a big guy, an easy guy to bring down. So yeah, it has to be for me.
Sure. Tyler in the chat has the audio actually enhances it somehow. I get that. I feel that. I definitely feel that. It slows it down. It makes it go. Adam Guda in the chat says this was a poor attempt to tackle, and to me, obviously a dangerous attack.
Yep.
So, I think it's a last ditch effort by the Memphis defender there, and I think we're all kind of in agreement that we would certainly have a penalty on that one. Next big bit of action for me was the Doyle yellow in the 33rd minute. That kind of pissed me off. I think our discipline issues had been behind us a little bit. We've been doing better with it. We haven't seen it, but picking up a yellow for dissent where he could have just ran on with limited attacking options coming off the bench based on international duty and Chico not being fully fit. But that one just bothered me. I see you laughing, so maybe you had similar views on that one as
I thought
well.
it was stupid, and I thought that my favorite part was when Doyle turns around. And he's like, "What? What?" He said, I couldn't hear you." And it's like, it's tough to make that sell when there's like 10 people at the match. It wasn't like this raucous crowd and like drowned out. I do think it was a little soft. Like I don't think he deserved a yellow there, but I don't think he can really complain too much.
Andrew Quadro says that yellow was a joke. I think this ref had rabbit ears, if you will. I mentioned I refereed basketball for many years, and you're kind of told to like tune certain things out at certain moments. And this ref heard everything and went at it. I know we had a ref on the pod in our preview, and he kind of danced around answering my call out on why the no JJ pen or the Yao penalty at the end. So interesting to see that he was standing up for his brethren in the middle there on that one. So we also had from Brendan, I like what we brought to the match in confidence, energy, and effort. Our execution needs to be better, and we need to play smarter. Play to the whistle. Don't draw stupid cards. I know Ryan's going to hammer that one home, especially when we talk a little bit about the second half. But
Yeah.
just to kind of wrap up stats for the first half on this one, and make sure I got everything on there. Oh, I'm sorry. One big thing I did want to mention before going to stats on the first half: the Doyle save shot and the McGlynn miss that would have made it 2-0. What a chance! What a moment! I think the Doyle's going to do better on the initial shot, but there's no excuse for McGlynn not netting his second in that one. It was just a great chance. I think he could have walked it in rather
Yep.
than try to shoot it or even try to pass it in. But uh, the attempt that he gave, the lean back and just popped it up, was just inexcusable from that close range with the keeper out of the picture.
It was a classic, like harder to miss than to make
Right,
moment.
right.
Yeah, I think he
I
just got caught in a couple minds of like, what do I do here?
do I
And yeah,
blast it? Do I walk it? Do I pass it? What
yeah.
is
I mean,
it?
definitely, it was. I mean, to be clear, it was a bit awkward for him, but he, someone of his talent needs to score that for sure.
So this was an interesting one that the eye test people will talk about, because if you watch this game, I very much felt like this was a game that we've kind of seen throughout the season so far, where Rhode Island FC dominated possession, but the other team had better stats or whatever it was. But I think that this was a match where it looked like we were running things in the first half. I think we were by far much better team in the first half. But 62% possession for Memphis to 38 for Rhode Island, outshot 13-4, 3 on target for them, 2 for us, 2 big chances for us, 1 for them, 1 missed for them, 2 for us. 195 accurate passes on 74% for them, 102 on 62 for us. 10 fouls for Rhode Island FC in the first half. The boys were back. The fouls were back to 3 for Memphis, 3 corners for them to our 1. This first half in a nutshell was statistically all Memphis, but I felt very confident watching this first half. Obviously, we had the lead. I liked what we were seeing. I liked the grit. I liked the drive. I liked the high press. The high press was back in full effect, and that might have just simply been a personnel thing. You mentioned Clay in the earlier parts of this one. He was playing that roaming playmaker. Anyone who plays Football Manager, I always love to have a roaming playmaker out there. Let him kind of run wild. And we talked a little bit a few episodes ago how it was Ibarra running off of JJ Williams on the hold up play, but now we had Clay getting into some better channels and getting him in more advanced positions, and I think that benefited us greatly in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing you mentioned that I think tells the tale of the first half was more on the chances created. Yes, they had a lot of possession. Number one, I think we did a good job breaking it up with either fouling or tackling. So they never got a momentum that felt real. They had a lot of the ball, but nothing real. And then they really couldn't create much out of it. So I think that, and also we scored the goal, right? And also had
Right.
a good chance. So I think that's why it felt in terms of like eyeball test versus metrics. Also, Memphis was chasing the game for a lot of the half too, which is always going to lead. And we'll definitely talk about this about the second half. It's going to lead to them having more possession, more shots, things like that. So
Yeah, absolutely. And like I
but
said, I think a lot of
I felt
uh,
great.
go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I said at halftime I felt absolutely great. So
Yeah.
my eye test felt just as good. So
Before we kick it to the second half, and I meant to ask you this as we got started, you went to the Guild last night. What was that like? How was the turnout?
it was good. Hey, for a Wednesday night, I thought we really showed out. We might have had more people than Memphis, just at the Guild alone, which was awesome. We had a couple, people who had been there, maybe eating dinner, who kind of hung around a little bit, which is always great to see. So, yeah, shout out to everyone who made it out. I don't know if anyone went down to the, I think it's called Shays Dun in North Kingston, but hope that watch party went well. But yeah, I'm excited. I hope that we take a bit of a lesson from what we saw in Memphis, that we all got to turn out for that Wednesday night game here and really, put on a show for the club and the fans.
That's definitely a big one. That's definitely a winnable one, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna call that one a must win, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as we dive
I
into
might
that.
call the rest of them must wins at this point, but
That's fair. That is definitely fair. But second half, we saw a bit of the same. Memphis with a little bit more possession. RIFC pressing. Subs came on in the little after the 60th minute. It was interesting to see what Kano would do. Joe Brito coming on has been a kind of a fixture mainstay that we've seen in and around that 60th minute. And just 3 minutes later, it was after the original shot was Doyle, correct?
yep.
It was Doyle who ripped the shot. The keeper couldn't fully handle it, and Brito crashed the net. And this was the equivalent of like a hockey goal. The keeper made a dive at it. They called it a 50-50 ball on the line, and Brito just wanted it more and helped it over the line. I think we've kind of been looking to see that hunger from some of these players and what they could really bring. And Brito coming on 3 minutes before that and really kind of hammering that home, I think was just a really hungry, really great play to see.
Yeah, actually, quick correction. I don't think it was Doyle because I think Brito came on for Doyle. So
All right.
yeah. So Adam got us in the chat. It was Fusan.
It was Fusan. All right. Thank
Or
you, Adam.
Fusen if you're a Memphis commentator.
Fusen, if you are an ESPN plus analyst, but thank you for that. I really appreciate that. But good to see the fight. There was a massive melee after this one, and the keeper trying to go off of it and really kind of sell his case about he had the ball. But good goal for me by all accounts.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Brito it was a live ball. He does have the opportunity to attack it. The keeper kind of gets a mid on it right about the same time, kind of a 50-50. They're both there. And I thought it was totally fine as well.
Yeah, for sure. Good to see. Good to see. But next up, as far as action, was the Koke Vegas red card in the 88th minute. And initially, we all thought it was offside first, so the red should have never stood. But it looked like Karifa Yao did play the Memphis player on. I have no problems, no qualms about this one being called a red card. He was out of the box. He was last defender. He took him down. It's the letter of the rule. It is what it is. It sucks. We're gonna miss him big time in Louisville, but it was the right decision by the officiating crew. But like Kevin says in the chat, it was a stupid decision by El Capi.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better. I mean, that's the type of player he is, right? He's going to take some risks. He's going to come out of his box. He's going to try to sweep those balls up. And while I think there's a ton of benefits to that style of play, it's something that I enjoy. There's some very obvious issues there because it's not just that he comes out and gets beat and they get a goal. It's that he comes out, gets a red card, and they still score the penalty. And that's really where you kind of you double down on the mistake that way.
For sure. We saw Jackson Lee subbed on for Noah Fuson, the initial sub after that one. But it's a free kick from a really tough spot for Lee to face on
Mhm.
his first absolute action of the match, and it was just a really well hit ball. So not going to fault Lee at all for that one. I think it was just a tremendous free kick and a tough spot for Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine coming in that situation, but at the same time, I mean, you could go and look back, like, was the wall in the right place? Was he, shading on one side a little too much? But I just think, like you said, in general, it was a great free kick, and sometimes you just have to give him credit.
You got to give applause where it's due, and I think we'll kind of do that for them on that one. But the you could see after that, being a man down and being that sub, we were in white knuckle hold on mode, and I still thought we had it. But then
Same.
there was a very interesting play. The same player who collided with Coque Vegas and was a very obvious leg injury the training staff was attended to because Memphis was out of subs, started to perform a concussion test and concussion protocol testing and got the extra sub by selling this one off as a head injury, which I think was 100% bullshit.
Mm.
We talk about the uh, we talk about the standard of the officiating in the USL Championship a lot on this one, and I think that's something that the league needs to really take a look at and investigate. Because if you're going to go through and pull off that kind of stuff, that's just bush league. It's bad. It's circumventing the rules, and it just not it for me. I think that was a really low moment in this game. I hope the league kind of responds to this. I doubt they will. I don't
Yeah.
expect them to, but I just think this was a really poor move from Memphis.
So I went back. I did see with the collision with Koke. Obviously, like Koke really smokes him in the leg. He does fall really awkwardly because he's grabbing at his leg when Koke does that. I didn't see a massive head hit. This is tough because as someone who has appreciated and thought it is the right decision to take head injuries more serious in soccer, I am very for them taking the proper precautions here. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that there was something going on with him because they did continue the testing off the field. They showed it. To be clear, if they come out and this guy is perfectly fine and there was nothing going on, I think it's complete bullshit. And it is
Sure.
abusing the rules that are there to try to protect these players in a way that is just, quite frankly, like disgusting if they did that. I don't have any evidence to say that they did that. I want to trust that the independent doctor did his job. So to be clear, if it was them kind of fucking around and trying to get an extra sub, I think it is horrific and they should be fucking docked points because that is awful to what it does to this.
Endanger player safety.
Correct. It is completely spitting in the face of all that.
While all of this was going on was also something very interesting. Coque Vegas refused to leave the pitch. He was in the dugout, still hooting and hollering
I have
at
to say
Memphis
that was the
players and
funniest part
staff.
about this being in an old baseball stadium is there were just like little moments where it was cutting to like the foul pole and like a dugout, and it just was great.
I thought we were in a Savannah Bananas game for a moment there. It was just we had
I mean,
people on the dugout with symbols.
we wore our yellow kits. We were there for it.
That's true. That is fair. Lawrence that we had on the away end was in the press box for this one, so I was monitoring his tweets as he went.
Mm.
Apparently, there was also a Rhode Island FC assistant who was in the press box and passing down tactical instructions to the team from there.
Cool.
And Lawrence was very upset by that. And it was the same coach. So I don't know who he said it was. I believe he said the Memphis coach that he interacted with. The same coach was with Koke yelling at Memphis staff and players before Koke refused to leave the pitch. And as Nate said, Koke was on fire. He was hot. He was bothered. He did not want to leave. Interesting because I think we kind of all can agree that it was a Stonewall red card.
Yeah, the red card, actually, I was confused that anyone was like mad about it. I mean, you have to fight for your guy a little bit, but it was honestly as clear a red card as you can get. I wonder if they also thought he was offsides, the other player. I think
Right.
maybe they were mad about
Maybe
that
that's
because
what it
that's
was.
where I was like super pissed because I was like, this guy was offsides. That negates anything that happens after that. Like, what are we doing? On further review, it was a great run. It was well timed, but I thought it just seemed very offsides in the moment.
We've got a lot of debate in the chat right now. What was a
Ooh.
pen and what was not throughout this one. And I always try to look at it if it was called, if it was a penalty that we did not receive and it was called on us, how would we feel on it and
Mhm.
vice versa. And for me, the JJ one, I could totally understand if Karifa Yao did that to someone in the box and they got a penalty. I could definitely understand that. So it makes me more upset that we did not get that one.
Mhm.
The Vegas one, like, I totally understand. I get what they did with that one. It's a letter of the rule. He was out of the box. Stonewall for me. It is what it is. We'll get to that third shout in 1 second. Tyler said, "Who was Koke yelling at?" And from the reports from Lawrence from the 901 Soccer Pod was that he was yelling at Memphis staff or Memphis players on
Hmm.
the bench. So any kind of combination of those.
I could see that like Memphis was yelling at him to get off the pitch, and it kind
Sure,
of caused
sure.
like a kerfuffle there. I don't know. It seemed like there was some spark going on between the two sides, especially towards the end of the game. Then we saw the skirmish at the end too. So
Oh, right on. Next up is the Karifa Yao penalty chance and shout. And we had a lot of, I would say, debate on this one within the Tide Talk headquarters as far as opinions on this one. I can already see that one brewing in the chat as well. So I'm going to bring you two different angles of this. I'll play each one, give a little bit thought, and then we'll come back to you for your take on it, Ryan. So we'll start with All right, so that was the slow-mo one. One thing I want you to watch if you didn't watch it in that one is the engagement point of both players. Both players kind of lock on to each other outside of the D. So take a look at that. I'm going to play that one from the same angle. You don't have the super slow-mo audio, so apologize for that. But watch where both players engage at the beginning of this one. It starts way before the ball is even played or enters the box. And then our second angle is a little more zoomed in and at a little faster speed. So give my take and then I'll kick it to you to get yours, Ryan.
also shout out to Scott on these videos. But
Mouse slowed it down. He got us some good stuff, so we were able to get in there. Big thank you to our Welsh wizard getting it in for us. But for me, both players engage outside of the box. I think things went wrong for Yao when the Memphis player tried to essentially attempt a swim move to get by him, and their arms were tangled. And there's no other place for him to go than down. I think you see this play a lot in world soccer, and I think you see this called a penalty not a lot at all. For me, I don't have this as a pen. I have this as both players engaging with each other. One attempts a spin move, one's holding his ground. The arms are there. It's just a play on for me. I don't have it as a penalty. I don't have it as a foul. There is a lot of contact, but soccer is a contact sport. And for me, I don't have a pen on this one. I know Kevin is very adamant that it was a pen and it was the right decision. So what do you got, Ryan?
yeah, I honestly agree it was a penalty. I mean, I think yes, they are engaging outside the D. Yes, they're engaging going into it. The problem becomes when the guy tries to go around him and Yao still is in his way, kind of grabbing him, and the guy then spins off him and goes down. That's where I think it is truly becomes a penalty rather than kind of two guys fighting for position. So
That's fair. Adam says in the chat, it's unfortunate, but yeah, it's a foul in the box.
mhm.
Yao engaged for too long. I get that piece, and like I
we
said,
need
I
to we
think
need to
those.
recruit Adam to the Andrews, by the way.
Uh, so we learned a fun fact about Scott, aka Mouse, today.
Oh no.
If you want to talk to him, he does have a stake in this claim. He identifies as an Andrew in the Matt versus Andrew battles on RIFC socials. But I want you to do me a favor. Next time you're talking with Scott on Twitter or Discord or whatever it is, ask him what his middle name is. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm going to leave it at
Say, are
that.
we doxing him on live YouTube?
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna dox him. I'm just say interact with him, ask him what his middle name is. But for me, like I said,
I mean, he's gonna have it legally changed by the time we wake up tomorrow morning at this rate. So
he is a lawyer, and it is tomorrow morning in Wales, so it's absolutely perfect. Um, doxed, but like I said, things went wrong for me when that swim move was attempted, and it went down. I don't like the call, but like Tyler said, and I think Tyler's kind of nailed it on the head. kind of with what I feel. Still don't like the call, but as a defender, don't put yourself in a spot where the official can make that call.
No, especially with Karifa, who he's a big guy, and it's gonna look awkward when he's kind of in the mix on those things. So that's extremely unfair to him. But at the same time, like you kind of have to know, like perception is the reality in the sport, and especially when you're in the box, tangled up, the little guy goes down, he throws himself down. You know, you're probably gonna get that a lot. So just again, I think he's been someone who I was praising a ton last week. I think he's had a lot of great performances, mostly because he hasn't been doing stuff like this, and that was just really unfortunate to see, especially in the 99th minute or whatever it was.
Sure. Evan's got a big different opinion. It's 100% a flop. Tune into the Call Hard Corner Monday night. I'm sure Evan will get some screen time, some airtime on that one, and give you his takes and thoughts. And he didn't type that in all caps, so he's not super mad at least yet. But his follow up was it's a flop, and he should be fined. Uh, like I said, I try to view it all as how would I feel if that one went against us, and if that's uh, JJ wouldn't go down on that play, so I can't use him. So, if that's
You know, quite
Chico,
frankly, JJ should go down. He should be trying to get a penalty there. That is you rooted for fucking Harry Kane for so long. Like, how are you not very pro
spoken
this
like a
move?
true Arsenal
Like,
fan
it's
over here.
unbelievable.
If that was Clay, if that was Brito, even Dequa, and they went down and that was
Chico
no
would've went
call,
for it.
Chico would have fucking hit the deck on that one
Yeah.
100%. But if it was one of those guys and they didn't get the call on it, I think I'm like, okay. I think I'm moving on.
We'll talk next time it happens at a game. I do not believe that one minute.
Stay tuned to be tuning in here. But we got a lot of flops. We got a lot of split decision on that one, and I leave it up to you to kind of say what you thought. But final stats for this game were 68% for Memphis, 32 for RIFC, 22 shots to 8 in favor of Memphis, 6-5 on target in favor of Memphis, 3 big chances for us for 2 for them. So we did a little bit more with our possession than them. We missed the 2 big chances, 1 for them. 419 completed passes at 78% to 150 at 58% for RIFC. 8 fouls committed to 17 for RIFC, 3 corners apiece. We did see another red card in this one after the fact, as Connor McGlynn was shown a straight red at the end for bitching at the ref with rabid airs, and it was a quick trigger, quick pull. Must have been a magic word that
Need to know
Connor.
what he said.
Yeah, need to know.
What
Must
word
have
gets you
been.
that?
It seemed like It didn't seem like Connor gave a long rant. It seemed like it was a quick fire, boom, and referee card. So definitely want to know what Connor said on that one. Scott's
Mhm.
in the chat, and before we move on from that video clip section, shout out to the USL for footage on the clips. Thank you. The league has a really cool policy with what you can and cannot share. So thank you to the league for making that out there. I know they want to get more awareness to the league, and we will continue to do our best to break down things from there.
Yes, I forgot the most important moment from the guild. Shout out to Nate Ski in the chat. He did guess right. He did not yell it loud enough that Jackson Lee could hear, but he did get it right on the penalty.
Newer is gone.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. There was a question in the chat. Is it a straight red 2 games? It is a 1-game suspension. So we
Whoa.
will not see Koke or Connor McGlynn in Louisville, but they will be back home for El Paso in that must win. So hopefully they are fully rested, ready to go. I think it was Tim McDuff that said it in the chat. We'll have them fully rested and I'm sure itching to get back in. So just that 1-game suspension for them. But the fall, the red card, and Doyle's yellow card totally avoidable. Dissent always gets me. It's like just walk away. And I think it was our guy Patrick McKenna who just joined the Tide Talk team with his awesome pre-match essential post. Said it in the Defiance Discord. And as I mentioned the Discord a lot, it's always the Defiance Discord. It's in our link tree. So if you're watching this episode, make sure you click that link and go join it if you're not in already. Just interact with all the fans, join the Defiance, and always up the tide with that. So those Dissent yellows, Dissent red just is tough. It's really, really bad. Or we got the pen flop argument still raging in the chat. I love it. But you got to avoid those. We've been highly disciplined early this year. We had been better the last 2, but this one was just a step back as we were more than 2-1 in the favor of falls. But We're gonna kick it to Ryan. Ryan's got his slides back by popular demand. When I do bring these up on the stream, I am going to try to zoom in as best I can. That was one bit of feedback we got. So if you're listening to the podcast version of this, we're trying to incorporate as much audio and visual aids as we can. So it's always worth noting that you can come to our YouTube, or you can go back and watch the YouTube and watch all of it. We got slides chance going on in the chat. So
All right. Well, I have
Ryan,
bad news. It isn't slides. I couldn't pull them together quick enough.
oh no.
So I do have
Um,
I have shells of slides. I just don't have the videos in them because fucking Google Slides doesn't support MOV,
all
unfortunately.
right, cool. So I'm gonna bring that up on stream, and
All right. Let's see if I can properly.
that's even better. So when we do go with videos, you lose the ability to talk over it unless you do some fancy tech work stuff. So you're able to talk the whole time, but you're being booed.
Guys, listen, I actually had to work today. Stuff. All right. So the thing, and this is, I'm just going to skip ahead to the good, the bad, the ugly. This is very much my ugly. We could not manage this game to save our season, really, at this point. So all of these clips are our possessions from the 80th minute on, and we will talk about what this netted out to. But so starting at the 80th minute here. So Noah gets this ball, cleans it up. Burrito, instead of trying to hold up, oh god, this is going to be ugly. Let's see how this goes. So basically, Burrito, instead of coming on and trying to like combine with some teammates, just runs down the line with the ball, loses it, and then it's over. Next up, we'll see what happens. Oh yeah, so this is the tackle. True Messi comes in. I know they're. Yep, actually, this is the original video. So True Messi comes in, makes a great tackle. Noah feeds him, and then again just runs into nothing. So one pass was made by everybody else. This one, Clay, he has a good idea to try to clip up the line to JJ here, but as you will see, there's absolutely no way JJ is going to win this foot race with a guy 10 feet in front of him. All right, they regroup again. We got a throw in here. We try to control it. They get it right back, and they're off. No, actually, sorry. Holstad gets fouled. This one, next up, Gabby is going to throw the ball in. He was very slow on all this stuff, which I thought was funny because it was a nice little bit of time wasting from our boy Gabby. Here's the JJ. JJ can't control it at all, and we get to the nope. Off they go. Again, this creates they were unbelievable with long balls in the second half. Kind of creates a bit of a chance here. Next up, this is the guy that is about to make a big impact on the game. So we started going really long with basically absolutely everything, as you have seen. Okay, eventually he's going to kick this ball. JJ by himself can't win it. It then turns into the long ball that about here turns into Koke's red. So again, we were playing this ping pong match in the second half where all we were doing was trying to go long and the ball would go right back to us. This one, so Koke obviously out of the game now. We get the ball right from the kickoff, and JJ can't win it. They get the ball directly back again, and off they go. Luckily, this guy is offsides because he again wins his battle. But then this one is the one that kills me the most. So we have this nice free kick from the offsides, and Jackson just boots it the fuck out of bounds. All right, so next up. This one is the one that I told Matt of all. So I think all of this was incredibly stupid because we just never tried to play. This is the one that bothered me. This was the one that bothered me. It was the least dumb of the dumb shit that happened at the end of the game. Clay tries to make a run. Again, I'd rather see them try to sit and combine. This is Jackson again.
I think on the Clay one, it was essentially the corner flag run, but he was hoping for a little bit moment of glory there.
Yeah.
Nobody ran with him.
No.
There was nobody for him to even attempt to cross to or cut back or peel back to. He was miles ahead of everyone, which attributes to Clay's fitness on that one. But
Yep.
Nobody made the run with him, so I think he just figured, "Fuck it, I'm gonna try to get a go on goal."
So more or less, this video just keeps going. This is again all of our possessions in the half. What you're going to see is that Rhode Island FC decides that passing no longer a part of the sport. We are just going to hoof it and hope for the best.
Football, baby.
Yeah, we're now in the 97th minute where you would have thought, hey, this game's almost over. Absolutely not, of course. Yep. So this one, Gabby just kind of boots it. JJ can't hold it. They then are just coming right back at us again. If for all of you know, I'm obsessed with field tilt. We got smoked in field tilt this game. So again, Jackson just had a real brutal stretch here of goal kicks. Just boots it to absolutely nobody. Like nobody. He does that twice the next few. Uh, this again is off of the second goal restart. Again, boots to JJ. JJ can't win it or the second ball. And I think that's all of them I could get to. There was a few more at the end, but more or less that is everything. We can unshare. That's everything. Just super unfortunate. And just to put some little, again, this is going to be my ugly, so we'll skip me again. So yeah, my big problem with this game management at the end. While we're chasing the game, like I mentioned earlier, they were chasing the game. Stats are always going to favor the team doing that, but we had 25% possession. We normally have 51% or so. Our pass accuracy was 46% in that second half. We're usually 76 for the season. We had 48 total accurate passes all half. We were only 22% on long balls, 8 for 36. We were 64% and 49% for the total game against Detroit and Hartford. And like they completed 31 long balls in the second half at 62%. We just weren't winning duels at all in that second half. We only won 46% of aerial duels, which we're usually pretty good at 56%. So it was just tough. And then to see, some of the players that we've really been relying on just not step up in that moment. You had Ibarra, 55% passing accuracy, lost possession 16 times for the game. Holstad lost possession 15 times. JJ, 42% pass accuracy, lost possession 24 times. I do think that counts. All those balls are just like pinging off his body. So I don't hold that against him too much.
And he got the shit kicked out of him on an aerial duels all game long.
Yes, which is tough because that's kind of like what you're hoping he can bring. Nodarse, I went big up on him and Yahoo last game, but 50% passing accuracy, 0 for 7 on long balls, lost possession 16 times. Just not a good stat from your center back. Our boy Gabby did lose possession 14 times, 53% passing accuracy. And then Lee, as you all just saw, 0 for 4 on his long balls. It was the only type of pass he hit, and that was in his 16 minutes. So just the game management was awful. We just decided to continuously give them the ball back and let them run at us. It was like a practice session of them just continuing wave after wave of attack, and they were creating a ton of chances too. It wasn't like it was just we were bunkered down and they were getting a shot off almost every single time. So just brutal when you put in all of that work, you really dig in on the road, and then you just have 10 minutes of just brutal stuff.
Stats daddy.
For you guys, but we'll get there.
We also had Tyler in there saying another week of Ryan changing my opinion on a game with stats. So well done, Ryan. I know he loves digging into the data and going on there.
I mean, it was funny because it was more the eye test that was the reason I started looking at the stats, because I was like, what the hell are we doing? Like it was as if the ball was a bomb and we were terrified of it because we just literally, I think 2 times there's a pass of more than 2 passes, a sequence of more than 2 passes in a row. That was it for 20 minutes, basically.
I think an interesting piece that you brought up was a few of the throw-ins. It's amazing how quick we lose possession after a throw-in. There's usually no more than 2 touches, not alone passes, 2 touches on a ball before we absolutely lose possession. And it's a common thread.
And to me, it's like this is where you want someone like a Clay or an Ibarra or one of your experienced guys to put their foot on the ball and say, everyone, let's relax. Let's get back to what we've been doing for 80 minutes of this game, which was, when we had possession, we were doing pretty well with it. We were stringing together passes. Let's try to do what we've done really all season. We've done it really well. So yeah, just hoping that the team can, have the confidence to manage games at the end. Hopefully, more experience with that would be great. But yeah, just really tough to watch that.
Yeah, we'll shift gears and hit it with the socials. I know you gave your ugly, so let's start out with some goods. For me, I'm gonna go Kano. I think Kano's, and I'll preface that with Kano early. I think he messed around with the starting 11.
Wait, sorry, was that you're good?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He messed.
I thought it was
around
your
with the
ugly,
starting
and I was
11.
like, oh wait.
He messed around tactically, and it worked. It worked very early on. Subs, they are what they are right now, as we're missing Quizera. Dequaw being on the bench was a bit of a decoy. I don't think we were going to see him. I think we're kind of looking at him and getting back maybe a couple minutes in Louisville, but we really want to see him for the El Paso game, and we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit as we go. But there wasn't much available for him on the bench, so we did have tired legs. I think in the 60th, I sent a text to you guys of hey, who are we gonna have to sub on in this one? And Brito came on. And you figured Doyle was probably coming off, but I think messing around with the formation and the tactics was good to see. But um, the subs kind of hindered his. If you were to give Kano a match rating, the subs would hinder that. But I think he started off very well.
By the way, I love in the chat how many people are hedging their takes for the Call Hog Corner on Monday. This is unbelievable, guys.
It's good stuff, and I do want to shout out, with our announcement of kind of joining forces and the Cohort Corner becoming a part of Tide Talk. The podcast views or listens have just been climbing and climbing. So I think we're gonna have a whole new audience on Monday for the Cohort Corner. Kevin might have to be very active on bringing on the mic and all that. So it's good to see that the Cohort Corner is generating so much buzz.
Yeah, and so just shifting to Andrew's, the one you just had up, actually. So Andrew, my only disagreement with that, like Kano can yell and say calm down and do whatever he wants. It unfortunately does have to be one of the 11 on or 10 at that point on the pitch saying like to actually do it, So as much as I want to, say Kano needs to do more in that moment, at the end of the day, like the players are the ones on the pitch, the players are the one kicking the ball, and it's on them.
The reason I wanted to give Kano my good for this one was everyone was so hot and wanted him out after the last match and calling for his job and all of that. But instead of sitting back and doing more of the status quo, he tinkered, and it worked large in part outside the result.
Yeah. I mean, if to be honest, he was also my good for this one too. Again, like fixing those tactical mistakes, saying I'm not going to play, three people out of position to accommodate one thing I'm seeing. So I appreciate him kind of going back to basics. I think he was rewarded with a very good performance for 80 minutes there. So that was great. I guess if I'm shifting one, I'm going to say Messi because I did not see that coming.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yeah. What do you got for your good?
I'm going to go Messi now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Messi. All right. And then what do you got for your bad?
I was also shocked when I looked at the club collector this morning, and I figured whoever was in first place was going to be whoever picked Messi, but it doesn't look like anyone did. So happens.
Bad for me for this one is the ESPN commentating.
We're two for two on our.
Yeah, I didn't even put mine in our doc that we use for notes.
So funny.
Free Tony Yayo. Playing on a baseball field sucks too, so I'll lump that in with the visual presentation, if you will. I'm glad we're just not putting this team at McCoy and throwing some sod over it and whatnot. I'm glad we are building a new stadium as Ryan reps the Paw Sox today. But I just think the presentation, the look of it, the Memphis crowd in there, or lack of a Memphis crowd, I'll lump that whole game day, match day experience from viewing and all of that in my bad.
The cutting away during the penalty. The scream at the Guild was like
you lose your stream from when the whistle was blown to when the penalty was actually given at the Guild. We got Ryan coming back.
We didn't do that.
Hold on a second.
I don't think, at least.
Oh, sorry. Here we are. Lost you for a second, but the stream on my end cut out, and it was referee blew the whistle. He hadn't yet pointed at the spot, but the whistle blew, and then it cut out, and then it came back, and chaos ensued from that point on. But it stayed in at the Guild.
I don't think it was that. It was literally when the guy was about to kick the ball, it just cut to like whatever, and then it came back with them celebrating the goal.
It did happen that too. Yeah. Tyler had that as well.
But just constant buffering. Like I was trying to rewatch to see some key moments, and it would like stutter through the key moment. Like when I was trying to see if that guy hit his head after Koke hit him, it actually buffers through that moment, so you can't even really tell. So yeah, I just can't believe how consistently this has been happening. Like if it was like one stadium, maybe there was like some weird weather going on somewhere and it messed with like their connection, but it's like every single game, this production is just not good.
All right. And what do you got for your ugly? You mentioned you're ugly with that last.
I did 12 minutes on ugly, so
I'm not going to beat a dead horse. It's just simply the officiating for me. I know there was a lot of it, and I won't even nest that comment just on the Yao penalty. The JJ one was a blatant stonewall, just a few throughout. JJ got shit kicked out of them all. I think there were a couple fouls that they definitely just passed on because JJ is big and battles for balls. Yeah. But I think the officiating was just not par for the course.
Can I set the chat on fire really quick?
Go for it.
I actually, on retrospect, don't think the refereeing was awful by the standard that we've seen this year. Mostly just because like the only true thing I can see at this point is the JJ penalty miss, which Yeah, Matt dipped. He's out. Hey everybody. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't good, but I also think we did this more to ourselves than anything.
I think it was also worth noting. I should have stayed in silence. Andrew says, "Loss on the ref is the fact that the players lost the game, not the ref."
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's
my
also
big thing.
worth
Like, I don't
noting
want people
that,
to blame the ref for this one. This was us.
but that comment came up a lot, and ultimately we did not lose the game. We drew the game. It is another point.
I
It
feel like we
is a
lost.
yeah. It's one of those that leaves that bad taste,
Mhm.
but it
Well,
is a
it's
point.
classic. You mentioned this in one of the preview pods of like depending on what like the if all this is switched and we came back with 10 minutes or left or so to score 2 and tie it, we'd be beating our chest like this team has character, all this stuff, and yeah.
I'd be shirtless, I think, on this pod, but I know, I know the luchador wants to know which one's getting a tattoo first. That might just happen on like live on air if that was the case, especially if that happens. Hartford at home. It is not a loss, Kevin. It's a tie. It feels like a loss, but it is not a loss. The Draw Kings continue. The Draw Kings prevail. The biggest challenge facing pro soccer this country is the quality of officiating, says Brendan D. I get it that this is what MLS and the USL Championship. We need to invest more money into training refs.
You know what's funny though? It's like we're both Premier League fans. Like I also think the Premier League refereeing is fucking shit. So I don't know. Like I just think it's a really hard job if we're being honest here. To be clear, there's definitely shades of like very good refereeing and very bad refereeing.
You
We've
see
mostly
moments
seen
of good,
bad.
and you see moments of both throughout the game.
Yep. So it's like while I think throwing money at the problem definitely would help, it's like the richest league on planet Earth struggles with the same problem, and they also have VAR as well. So it's tough.
I see Nate saying VAR in the chat. I don't want to see VAR in this league at all. I
Yeah,
think
I mean
we
this game would have been 140 minutes if
oh,
VAR was
brutal.
involved.
Absolutely brutal. Let's kick it around to the good, bad, and the ugly comments. We got Andrew H, aka Emoji92 on Discord. He had good 90 minutes. So it was definitely a good 90 minutes. Bad stoppage time. Ugly the ref. Andrew Gomes on Discord. So we're double Andrewing to start. Good. Connor scored his first goal of the year. I know we talked about it, but definitely kind of want to hype that up. Hopefully that's something he can get on the score sheet a little bit more for us. Bad. JJ getting bullied with no calls. Bullied, I think, is a strong word for that. I think he just throws himself into challenges and battles for every ball. So I don't know if I can agree with bully, but he did not receive a lot of calls or benefit of the doubt from him hitting the deck. Ugly officiating. Joe Perron on Discord. Good 2-goal lead into the 90th. Bad goal in the 91st. Ugly goal in the 101st. I can agree with all of those.
I can't say it clearer than that.
Tyler on Discord says, good Kano ball, bad officiating, ugly that venue. Yeah, fuck that baseball field. Justin
It had
F.
charm, guys. Come on.
No,
Koke
no.
had to go out in a dugout.
He would not go out in the dugout. Justin F on Discord, good 87 minutes, bad 87 plus minutes, ugly Koke red card. Mike M had good Chumasi at right back. That surprising point, and we definitely talked a lot about that. Bad Koke over aggressive play, ugly Memphis supporters, all 12 of them. I think he was talking about.
I would say someone did mention it earlier in the chat that there was that one Rhode Island FC fan that was on camera, like right up front. So shout out to whoever that is.
And they were in the Discord too. I don't have the name.
I was wondering if it was that person. Okay, yeah.
At the top, but Cyrus on Discord, good most of the game, bad the end, ugly the officiating. Tim McDuff, good. They put shots on goal, something we've been waiting for. We've been wanting. It wasn't that many, but it was an improvement. I know Evan will scream and yell about that on Monday night, but it was not that many, but it was an improvement. Bad, they couldn't close it out. Ugly, the officiating. We got Daniel Chase in the chat, and Kevin saying it was Becca. It was Daniel's wife too.
Hell
So
yeah.
shout out. Glad we were able to pull that Rhode Island degrees of Kevin Bacon separation and find out who that was here on Tide Talk.
And like we always say, we're probably cousins with them anyway. So
Absolutely. Leo on Discord, good. We scored early and we're holding on pretty well. Bad, Koke red. Jackson Lee getting thrown into the fire. Ugly, learning a new way to draw. That was painful, I think, more so than ugly. Brendan D, good. This is a good one. My mood in the 67th minute. Bad, my mood in the 101st minute. Ugly, my mood now after having had post-match time to sit and stew over all that transpired between the 67th and 101st minutes. That one's tough to argue with. It's all true. It is absolutely all true. And we'll kick it over to RIFC in 3. So people who shared with us their 3-word reviews on this one. Craig on Discord, the club collector Craig. Fuck this shit. Mike M on Discord. I like the way Mike went because he turned into the chant vibe with blind, deaf, ref. So I can appreciate that. Patrick J on Discord. What the fuck? Tyler on Discord. Yet another letdown. Rowdy on Discord. Criminal officiating investigation. And there's dots in between all of each word. So I like the pause. Leo on Discord. Almost made it. This is a really good one too from Brendan. Pardon me, and then it's fuck, but it's yeah. Brendan's in the chat, so let me pull this one up. That is his. Pardon me. So you guys are really putting our explicit content label to good work on this one, more so than I am. We did have a comment that Ryan got fiery in the chat. I think Ryan dropped his first F-bomb on Tide Talk in this one, so that was good to hear as well. We'll
it's fine. I'm drinking a non-alcoholic beer. It's not even like Sorry, you're drowned out by your own claps.
There's still alcohol in that semi, a little bit, right? Matt H on Discord, never a pen, fueling into that argument there. Kevin, you are bugging. Rowdy on Discord, check your eyes. Nateski, draw kings again. And Andrew Gomes, Hijo de server crash. I combined his it's 2-1 just so we didn't have that chant going in. The Discord crashed on that one. We also had on Facebook Jim Howard. That was rough. Certainly was. Our friend William Lamb from Sacramento. He did 3 of them, so he's really tuned into Rhode Island. So shout out to William. I know he often joins these feeds, and he follows our show closely. And he had a complete disaster, not like us. He's identifying with us. That we might have converted a Sac Republic fan.
That's incredible.
That's awesome. And down the drain. And this was certainly 3 points down the drain on this one. And on Instagram, their name is Max F, tied at 101. Our guy Scott, aka Rhode Island FC _UK. I'm still crying. That was a late night for Scott. Don't forget to ask him his middle name. Cool Will 20, complete disaster, and Brian Luch. What just happened? So thank you for everyone who wrote in on our socials. We put out the good, bad, and the ugly in the RIFC in 3 posts after each match. So you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And we'll have all of those posts out there. Click that link in this episode description to follow all of those accounts. This was by far our biggest engagement on all of those. And I think that's a big shout out to Joe and Irvin at the Defiance, who made us Hollywood and gave the Tide Talk their own channel in the Discord. So we're going to get a lot more participation in that. Had to turn away some Man United funk that was going on in there and get them in the other soccer channel.
Eric Ten Hag in. Let's go.
Yeah. But
love it. Long live.
Appreciate the Defiance admin as they were able to get us that going in there. If you want to know Mouse's stuff, read the chat. FQB is doxing, so there it is there. But next up for RIFC is Louisville FC, and that draw with them is looking just absolutely better and better as the days go on and as Louisville results go on. They are undefeated in their last 5, most recently with a 2-1 win over North Carolina FC. They beat Miami 2-1. They beat Detroit 5-1. And then it was the draw versus us and a draw versus Vegas. This is a very good team that scores a lot of goals. So the fact that we held them to a clean sheet and held them scoreless is pretty incredible in the fashion that we did it. We're going to be without Koke Vegas. We're going to be without Connor McGlynn. This is going to be a tough test for Rhode Island in Louisville.
Can I say something quick? One of my things about my ugly of like not managing the game. Obviously, Koke is like I understand that red card. Like it was a bang split decision. He's trying to make a play. Connor's like really pisses me off because like you just go down the tunnel, man. Just go down the tunnel. You don't have to get yourself suspended. Like now we're down our captain, one of our part of like our leadership group, and Connor. Like it just really kills us next game. And that
you talked about that leadership group, and if you saw that huddle as the team took the field for the second half, that the conversation was not being dominated by Koke Vegas. That conversation was being dominated by Connor McGlynn and Clay Holstad. And now, like you said, one of our leadership group, one of our dominant talking players or vocal players, whether good or bad, I guess, will not be with us for a very, very tough test as we're already down players with international duty.
I still need to know what he said. I need to know.
I think we'll do a Scott had a really good screen grab of the referee showing him the red card. We're going to post up on the socials after we get this episode chopped up a caption contest. So look for that post. You heard it here. We'll tease it here on Tide Talk. We're going to post a caption contest. Give us your best thoughts of what Connor said to the referee. Don't put him in the chat.
I say you're really going to be getting that explicit warning going.
Don't put him in the chat. Save it for those posts. We want to read those interactions. We'll retweet them, repost them, and we'll have a good laugh on our next episode. Tim also throws in Ibarra is the only leadership member and Chico, if he's healthy, available next week. So definitely something to keep an eye on. This could be another, like I mentioned, where we're going to have to go in, play a little bit tough and try to grind out a result, which we did for the most part in this one, just a kind of a letdown at the end. But before we wrap things up, any final thoughts, anything pressing you want to get off your chest, Ryan?
We had it. But,
we did.
Yeah. Also, for those of you who, if I could turn around, I would. It's a Nomar Garcia Parra Paw Sox jersey, so no big deal.
Okay. All right. Little flex there.
My dad got it from the closeout sale.
So be on the lookout. We might have something special planned for this weekend. It's Father's Day, so big ups to all the dads out there. But we might have a special pod coming out this weekend. So make sure you're following us. Make sure you're subscribed to all of our channels. Tune in, and we'll hopefully get that out for you. If not, be ready for the next away end episode, as we'll probably talk to Handsome John again from Louisville. What a great!
I love that guy.
What a cool dude. I love talking. I think he was one of our most interesting dudes. Pro wrestling referee.
And shout out to Louisville they sent that care package last time. It's gonna be hard to say mean things.
I know we have a lot of issues with Detroit City fans based on what transpired over social media following that match, but Louisville, their fans and their content creators, just awesome stuff. So I'll be reaching out to Handsome John. Hopefully we can have him go back on. I know it was quick between episodes, but just a good dude, cool dude. I know we both kind of talked after getting off the air on that one, what a cool guy. And you said it to your wife. I said the same thing. Handsome John, man crush, done, in. Hopefully
he's called Handsome John. Come on.
That's it. That's enough. But it'll be a tough one, and we'll be here to talk about it and preview it and see kind of how that team has bounced back since the 0-0 draw at Burns Stadium. But that will wrap things up for this one. Remember, Tide Talk is more than just a podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for daily social media content. Please click that link in this episode description. And big shout out to Ryan, who launched the Tide Talk RI website, tidetalkri.com. Go check it out if you haven't already. That's going to be kind of our main hub and collective of all of our content.
That's going to be a weekend project. So any feedback, send it away in the Tide Talk channel, please.
Yeah, absolutely. But big ups to you, Ryan, for undertaking that one. Click the link in this episode description to follow what we got on all of our accounts now. But thanks again for tuning in. I'm really excited about Tide Talk and all we've had to offer. We've had so many interactions with people this week. We've had so many more interactions with all of our shows, from our match recaps to the previews to the Call Hog Corner. Our numbers are bumping, our numbers are climbing, and that's all thanks to you guys. So thanks for all the kind words. Thanks for all you do, and let us know that you appreciate it, because we're just a couple nerds who like to talk footy, and that's what it is. I think it's there were a lot of people who asked me about the timing and Raising Anchor going live a little bit before us. The real winner is that we're not a loser. They're not a loser. We're not a winner. They're not a winner. You guys are the winners. You guys are the fans. You're getting more content, and that's what it's all about. So consume all of the RIFC content you can. We want to continue to see this club grow on and off the pitch. So that's all that will happen. And if you're interested in making some content, we've had a few people reach out to us, send us an email, tidetalkri@gmail.com, get in touch on the socials, and we're always looking to expand the team. So let us know. All right. But I've been your host, Matt, for my good friend Ryan. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining the chat. Our numbers were bumping again on this one. We'll see you next time. And as always, up the tide.
Up the tide.